So there I was, sitting at home and listening to the rain outside and waiting for the electricity to come back on. And my wife and I start talking about Christmas, what we are planning as presents, and what we're going to eat, the decorations, tree, and so on. You know, the normal Christmas stuff. Then we started talking about all the messages people are sending on WhatsApp and Facebook and so on about Christmas. And how sad it is that most people talking bad about Christmas are not the same kind of people as before. You know, even before my time, all kinds of people around the world through history have tried to talk bad about Christmas and even tried to have the holiday scrapped. It was normally the people that did not believe in Christmas or what it stood for, and they were pushing for a more diverse holiday. That is why it's called the festive season now and not Christmas season anymore. Now in 2019, these groups has almost stopped fighting against Christmas because they don't have to do it anymore. They don't have to do the fighting. Why? Christians are doing it for them. You know, it's the old art of war strategy, divide and conquer. Christians are divided in two factions now. The first is against celebrating Christmas, and the second for celebrating Christmas. Now, why would Christians be fighting against the biggest and oldest Christian celebration? Well, join me now as I review Christmas and its history. I'll be giving a brief history about Christmas and its origin story. It is a long story, but I'll keep it short and to the point. I'll be sharing the facts in my own words, but they are still the facts, as history cannot change even if we rewrite the books. So, where do we start? Let's start and go back more than 2,000 years, to a year unspecified and a date that's unspecified. The town, though, is Bethlehem. A lot of people would like to say this day did not happen, but according to history and historic data, it did. The dispute lies not in the if it happened. It actually lies in how it happened, because most people don't want to believe in the virgin birth and all of that. So on this day, Jesus was born, and from this day on, the world changed. 33 plus years and a crucifixion later, Christianity emerged. When Christianity started, it was just a handful of people, and they started out on a rough road. 10 out of the 12 disciples were killed by either hanging, stoning, or crucifixion. And Christians were hunted and killed, burned at the stake, or fed to lions and tigers in the Colosseum. They were bound and caught and sold as slaves and beaten to death just for praying. It was a very difficult time, but they endured. So around 200 AC, as the story goes, Christians started celebrating the birth of Jesus. There is no exact date or year, as it was not recorded in any history book. The first time it was recorded, though, was in 336 AC, in the time of the Roman Emperor Constantine. He was the first Christian emperor. Now, if I think back and put myself in the shoes of the people deciding on celebrating Jesus' birth, I'll want to ask a couple of questions. For instance, why celebrate? Well, I think they were glad that the persecutions were slowing down and almost over, and the victory for them was in sight. I'll say that they wanted to have a feast of their own as well, as all the other religions did have feasts and celebrations all year round. I mean, the Jews have between 10 and 12, 13 around their celebrations in a year. And Christianity stems from the Jewish religion as well. And they wanted to claim their own right to be taken serious as a religion. The other thing was that paganism in the north was in the decline and Christianity was taking its place. So this meant a lot of the pagans came to Christianity and brought some of their own traditions with them. It is the same right through history. Every race or culture that converted to Christianity brought some kind of tradition into Christianity. People like the familiar and comfort zones that they live in. And to help them adjust in these times, their traditions kept them safe. Remember, people were isolated and civilization was in a different state than what it is now. I mean, no internet or instant messaging or even electricity. No cars or planes or boats or anything like that. So how did they decide to have a feast? Well, I believe they started small and celebrated only in small groups, and as the years passed and the persecution faded, became more bold. They must have sent out notices to all the churches, and so Christmas was born. Now for the date, when will be the best time? No one knew the date of Jesus' birth, so how can they celebrate a birth without a date? I think that was where the people started celebrating it on the date that they thought were relevant. That is why there are so many different stories of how it could have been decided. Some argued that because Jesus was a Jew and they had a lot of feasts, and one of the most important one was in December, the Hanukkah celebration, it should be in that time. Others looked at the old traditional feasts and decided that that was the correct time. Some of the biggest feasts were the winter solstice, Yule, Dies Natalis, Solis Invicti, and some others as well. So to claim that Christmas originated from the feasts of the pagans are just crazy. There are too many things that point in a different conclusion. But a great deceiver can twist any tale to suit his or her agenda. These feasts are the ones all these Christmas haters talk about and say Christmas has a pagan origin. Well, shame on you for misleading people. Some stories say that they decided on the 25th December because they believe Mary became pregnant on the 25th March. Now, there's a long story to explain why they thought that and all of this, but we're just going to skip that and get to the point. These guys had a big decision to make about the celebration. For those early Christians to make a decision on when to celebrate Christmas was a huge step. So I think they had a lot of restless nights and a couple of days and experimented with different days and dates until they got the correct one for all the world. As we know from history, not everyone celebrated Christmas on the 25th December, but some people celebrated in January, the 6th or 7th. There were a couple of different calendars in that time. Remember, no internet or cell phones or even nice pictures, calendars at your corner store. No, they were more remote than what anyone today can imagine, but they all wanted to celebrate the greatest day in history. The date did not matter, the decorations did not matter. What mattered was a celebration and what it meant to those early Christians. It was not just a celebration of a birthday, it was a celebration of victory because of all the martyrs and all the persecution they went through for hundreds of years. The first time that the whole world celebrated Christmas on the same day, being the 25th December, was in 1752. The calendars changed twice to move from the Roman or Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar, which is the more accurate one and the one we are using today. In 1582 and then in 1752 for the UK. This changed the years to be 10 days shorter, so that the January celebration moved to December by default. In the UK, they still celebrate Old Christmas on 6 or 7 January. This is around 1,500 years after they started celebrating Christmas. So the theory that paganism is the origin of Christmas is a little too far-fetched, and people are reaching for a reason to make it bad where there is no real justification for that claim. The second thing I want to talk about briefly is the Christmas tree. Now, many Christians are talking against it as if it is an unholy pagan deity that's going to strike you down if you have it in your house or curse you forever. The truth is far more complex, as history usually is. Christmas, as we celebrate it today in its modern form, was first celebrated this way between the years 1810 and 1870. It was a transitional period as a modern era emerged. How we celebrate Christmas today was basically how it's been done since 1870. Modern Christmas trees originated from the Renaissance era. Even though people want to believe it originates as far back as the pharaohs in the Old Testament times, it's very unlikely that it does. The origin of the Christmas tree is also linked with Martin Luther, a Protestant Christian reformer. Before that time, they actually used only the branches to decorate and to hang the fruits from, and not the whole tree in itself. As it is told and written in the history books that he was the first to put candles in an evergreen tree, and well, the rest is history. We know there are a lot of theories and speculation on its origin, but it was never documented anywhere that the Christmas tree originated from, let's say, X, Y, or Z. It is just something that came in as history moved on. It is like going to church on Sunday or singing in the church choir. It was not something that happened from the beginning, and no one had a blueprint on how to celebrate Christmas. We brought our own traditions into Christmas and celebrated it in a way to help make the world a happier place, even if it's just for a couple of days a year. Even in the greatest war in history, they stopped for 2 days and celebrated together, friend and foe. So, that is the brief history. The main thing is that Christmas has been celebrated for nearly 1,800 years. It has changed over the years, and people have changed in the way that they celebrate it. As different traditions and ideas entered the Christmas celebration, the celebration grew to the biggest celebration in the year. To take these things and try to analyze and break down every small detail is to undermine and belittle those people that died and fought for Christianity in the early years. They take those martyrs and their joy in celebrating the birth of Jesus, and they crush it as if it does not matter. These haters have to remember that the people that started Christmas might be the same people that started putting the Bible together as we have it today, as it all happened around about the same time. So if you don't want to celebrate Christmas, you might as well think twice in reading your Bible as well. I like it when people start saying that Christmas is not in the Bible and is not given by anyone in the Bible as a celebration. They say it as it is a man-made celebration and not a God-made one. Now this always makes me laugh, as a lot of things that Christians do, especially in church, is man-made and not God-made. I can give a long list, but I will just name a couple of things that we do that's not God-made. It's like singing in church, Sunday school, Sunday church in itself. The church service, how it's been done, is not biblical. The songs they sing, most of the songs are written by normal people of normal verses. Building huge homes for the preachers of the church and so on and so on. I mean, all these things are not biblical, but it's things that's being done to this day. When these so-called Christians talk against Christmas, they forget the fundamentals of what Christmas is all about and why it was started in the beginning. It is the same values Christianity is based on, love, peace, celebrating Jesus, giving joy and presents as Jesus was our gift, accepting one another as Jesus accepted the world, sacrificing time and money to help someone else in the same way Jesus sacrificed his heavenly throne to become a mortal human. They are also not talking against all those things like the tree and light and decorations, etc. But they are in fact talking against celebrating the birth of Jesus. We all know it's not the correct date. The people that decided on the date knew it was not the correct date. But it's not the date or the decorations or the food that is important. It is a celebration of the greatest gift that the human race has received, whether you believe it or not. So stop wasting precious time with trying to disprove Christmas and confusing Christians and new Christians about Christmas. And start celebrating Christmas again with your family and friends, and even with strangers. Celebrate it with everyone around you, and maybe, just maybe, we can bring joy to the people of the world again. Stop being afraid to live. Otherwise you'll be scared and stay in your homes forever. So stop being afraid and move out into the world and celebrate Christmas with everyone. So that's it. That's me reviewing Christmas. And I really hope you liked and enjoyed the video. I'll be making more videos and releasing them every week. From me, Merry Christmas and all God's blessings to you. So if you liked the video, you know what to do. Cheers.